Ladies and gentlemen, order in the court. Today's proceedings finds the people versus James McGill.
Legal troubles got you down? Bosses refusing to pay out? Hit and run leave you stunned? Drug lords in your future? Maybe not, because he'll get your case dismissed. He'll get you the defense you deserve, but only if you say the words.
Oh no, I need legal representation. Whatever shall I do? What do I say? Oh wait, I know.
Better Call
Call
Saul.
Saul. So without further ado, let's begin judging Saul. Court is now in session.
You will atone.
I got crawdads in my pants, I tell you what. I'm sorry, Dragon. My Creole accent is not nearly as good as Jimmy McGill's. Today we're talking about Better Call Saul, Season 4, Episode 8, Coushatta. So, Dragon, this was a very, it was a lighter episode. It was on the lighter side for Better Call Saul. But I still really enjoyed it. I still had a lot of fun with it. Not quite as earth-shattering as some of the other episodes we've gotten. Kind of a very much a subversive, like, oh, son, you've subverted our expectations, but in a good way this time. It's relevant because Ryan Johnson is a Breaking Bad director. Anyways. So, Dragon, why don't you go ahead and give us the lowdown on this episode, the writer and director and all that.
Okay, so Coushatta, Episode 8 of Season 4 of Better Call Saul was directed by Jim McKay. Now, Jim McKay has directed an episode from the Albuquerque-verse, only one episode, and from the first season of Breaking Bad.
Yeah, how crazy is that?
I know, right? He directed Cancer Man, which, off the top of my head, if I recall, was the episode where Walter blew up the car, I think.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
So yes, so that was Jim McKay. He's also directed an episode or two of Mr. Robot. Really pulling from a lot of Stranger Things and Mr. Robot this season on Better Call Saul, by the way. It's a little observation.
Could you blame him?
And here's what I'm really excited to talk about here, folks. Our writer of the episode. We have the great and powerful Gordon Smith.
Woo!
Now, Gordon Smith, he writes some of the best and some of our favorite episodes. Gordon Smith, he's kind of he was brought on for Better Call Saul. One of his grand debut episodes was 5-0, I believe. So he's not only 5-0 is the one to put him on the map. But Gordon Smith, he really brings the legalese within his episodes because his sister is a lawyer, which he consults in real life when he's working on the shows. That's where the show gets a lot of its very true-to-life, accurate legalese from. So Gordon Smith, he wrote Fall, which of course was great, and in season 3, that was the big kind of like basically the big I'm so ashamed of Jimmy McGill episode.
Oh yes.
Yeah, he did Chicanery, which of course is a really great kind of long con like we have in this episode, and he wrote one of our mutual favorites, Inflatable.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, he's kind of our episode 7, episode 9 guy. He and Tom Schnauz are kind of the go-to guys on those. So.
And hey, what's the number between 7 and 9, Dragon?
I'm sorry. So, hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I'm sorry, I missed out the last part they said. Between 7 and 9?
Yeah, what's the number between 7 and 9? Like Gordon Smith is like, you know what? I'm going to work on 8 this time, darn it.
Yeah.
I'm going to subvert expectations.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, that said, let's dive right into it.
Okay, so after the big cliffhanger from last week, which I pretty much, Dragon, I gotta say, I'm gonna pat myself on the back for a couple of these predictions that I called this episode. Starting with the fact that we see that, starting off, we see that Jimmy and Kim, they're in a good place actually. It's presumably where Jimmy's about to go on a 4-day trip. A 4-day bus ride, and Kim's all arranged it. Jimmy's like, Kim, I don't want you to think I'm taking this for granted. I really, really owe you. And Dragon, we get a little bit of an air of ambiguity. We get some of that famous Rorschach that we've been talking about.
And I'm on the opposite end of the Rorschach test with you on this one, Tiki. I really viewed it as like they're still really distant right now, and that's kind of what the episode kind of examines as it goes forward.
Okay.
That's interesting, though. So, I mean, Jimmy, basically, we're enacting this big mystery plan. My favorite element of this episode is like we have a lot of great visual storytelling as well as kind of this mystery that is unfolding. It's a very well plotted episode, and I love that. You're right. Jimmy's leaving for his big old bus trip for the whole as part of the big Kim's plan to save Huel. The Save Huel plan, I like to call it. But yeah, I love that little moment with Jimmy there, where it's like he's not taking it for granted. Again, we see that Jimmy has done everything right. Jimmy's trying to save my at least my view of it was Jimmy's trying to save the relationship, and he's doing all the right things. We have a really great scene at the nail salon later on to kind of consolidate exactly what Jimmy's thinking. I love that scene. We'll get there. And I feel Kim, she's honoring the relationship. She's honoring the partnership that they have. But there's still a lot of love lost there. Again, they're still kind of in that place they were last episode where where Kim's basically like Kim's heart was kind of breaking by the revelations that Jimmy dropped in her lap. But again, like something kind of compelled her to help Jimmy at the end of the last episode. And that's kind of what we're really exploring here. Like, what does that mean for the relationship? So I guess it's kind of the mystery internally character-wise we're exploring this episode as well. She says that, see you Thursday. It's like, oh boy, it's like we don't know what's going to happen with those two kids.
All right. I've got some big theories about Kim Dragon. I've got some theories that are going to blow your mind.
Boy, man! Last time we had a theory about Kim, it's pretty much what I want the series to end with. So I mean, that was a pretty big. Okay,
all right.
Let's see. So getting moving right along here, we have again this wonderful mystery plan unfolds here. Jimmy takes this very long bus ride. They're going. Gets on this very long bus ride. We don't know exactly 100% where he's going. We have a good idea thanks to the episode title, but I mean, we don't know 100% while you're watching this for the first time. He's going on this long bus ride across Texas. So if you actually map this out, this journey is very, it makes sense how long this bus ride is.
Oh, Texas is a huge state, yeah.
I'm saying you're going from New Mexico through Texas and, of course, the other side of Texas, which takes us to our namesake location. We'll get there. So while he's on the bus,
in the process, Dragon, he's writing letters, a lot of letters.
And Tiki, here's the thing. I was so enamored with this episode. I was so dialed into it because it's the big mystery of like what the heck is Kim's plan with all this office supplies, all the papers, the pens, the envelopes, like all of this. And we see, okay, Jimmy's writing out these letters and postcards and crossing off names on lists of addresses and such. And again, using different pens. He's stressing, use a different pen. We have like a quick little, just the Albuquerque versus Charming bathroom joke, and only they can do bathroom jokes right. It's like rarely can you get a good bathroom joke on TV. It doesn't feel tedious. And I gotta tell you, T, can you ever think of a time we haven't had like at least a passable bathroom joke in the Albuquerque verse?
No, honestly, no. But that's just because like the only time that anything in the Albuquerque verse has been not passable has been basically like some Skylar White stuff and open house. So what are you gonna do?
So of course, like the whole, I had the chili fries with the with the onions. It's like you're more welcome to take the seat here next to me, buddy. But the other guys couldn't take it. All right, so let's see. So at least a day. Well, we see at least a day go by. I forgot about the whole 4-day thing. It was 4 day, like literally, like in the conversation.
The way I took it is that it was a 2-day ride there and a 2-day ride back.
Right, that makes more sense because we see at least a day go by. So I think you're right.
Yeah,
like that makes a lot more sense. Okay, so day goes by. Jimmy's starting to get writer's cramp, and then he cleverly outsources He has this great outsourcing idea to his fellow travelers on the bus, where he basically pays them to write the letters, and you basically follow the instructions, use a different pen, all that sort of stuff. And he's basically paying them to write the letters for him. And again, that's Jimmy McGill to a T. When the going gets tough, you pay a guy. Let's see. So in the end, just kind of summarize this a little bit here.
Oh, I like the hearts over the eyes. It's a real nice touch. Thank you.
He's stressing, he's stressing the pens and less angry, more sad. Like you're so sad you have to write this letter. Anytime Jimmy McGill's directing, it's funny. I don't know what it is. Just anytime he directs in some manner.
Also, Jimmy McGill directing, maybe kind of a foreshadow to what's to come in the episode.
True. Also, I love this. There's like little visual cue. This episode holds up so. I mean, it already was holding up perfectly because this season again they're treating the audience with such respect this season. Not that they haven't before. But this season is entirely like they're trusting you. You guys know what to expect at this point. You're going to be able to put together the mysteries and not be spoiled or anything. And I just love the fact they have these clues, like they're religious cards. If you look at a lot of the postcards, they're religious, and that's a big tip off. And I love that. It's like, oh my god, because I was wondering, yeah, there are a lot of religious cards, and of course, it happens. Oh, pays off. So we revealed Jimmy has gone all the way from New Mexico to Coushatta, Louisiana. Which basically in the outskirts of Texas, like kind of towards the edge of Louisiana. If I get my geography.
It's a bigger town than they make it out to be in the show, but for the purposes, it's still kind of a small little town down by the river.
Yes. So, wonder if there's a van down by that river. So, Jimmy's going to a post office with all these letters.
Literally a van parked in front of the post office. So.
Which, by the way, a little fun fact, this delighted me because Sam Catlin was someone who worked on Breaking Bad. He went off and he works on the show Preacher now. He's the showrunner on Preacher, which is really good, by the way. Another AMC production, and they tried to get Sam Catlin in on it so they could actually shoot this scene in Louisiana. The problem is they couldn't logistically get the bus and everything there, so they had to kind of make it look like a Coushatta. But I think they did an excellent job. So Jimmy's going to this post office in Coushatta, and you guys love the image of the whole namesake of the episode is what the end of the teaser is Coushatta, and it's the post office, and it's all coming together. Like, oh my god! Like each stage of this plan feels complete, and then it just keeps getting better as it goes on. Like, he's mailing the letters, and those letters are going to help Pule out. I know it.
And then I love how we linger on the shot because we linger on just people going in and out of the store, and Dragon. Let's just say that's going to play into some theories I have.
Okay.
I don't think this plan went off without his hitch as much as we would like to see it.
I didn't pick up on that. We'll see where you're going with it towards the end here. We'll put a pin on it.
Let's just say I think they linger on the people that are just sitting outside of this post office for a little bit too long.
There is a linger shot. I thought it was like I took it as a sense of accomplishment shot.
No, it's interesting. Dragon once again on different sides of the Rorschach test. Yes,
I know.
Yes.
Again, season 4 Better Call Saul, it's the Rorschach season.
Pretty much.
Okay, so after all that,
died in New Mexico.
Lawyer died in Mexico. It was Chuck. Okay, so we check in with Nacho. So bear in mind, so we saw 10 months go by in episode 7, so roughly a year's passed in Better Call Saul. You were in 2004, and there's a good question. We haven't seen Nacho for a while, and I thought this is a great way to check in with Nacho and kind of show him a little different than we've seen him last, because he's been kind of bleeding out last time we saw him in really bad shape.
Yeah, it was a great use of the time jump, and they really got very economical in terms of his storytelling, and I really thought that was a smart move on their part.
Yeah. So Nacho, right. 10 months later, what's the status quo like for Nacho and El Michoacan?
We'll see him basically taking up the Hector Salamanca role. He's at the far table where Crazy 8 is the one counting the money.
Mm-hmm. Domingo.
Yes.
Tapico. Anyway, so yes, Domingo's collecting. Basically, Domingo's kind of graduated to Nacho's job, and Nacho's kind of he's filling in for Hector Salamanca because so far, emphasis so far, no one's come to kind of take over the Salamanca operation. So again, Nacho's kind of
that'll never ever be challenged, right, Dragon?
Right. He's just going to be happy for Nacho from this point forward. He's just going to ride off into the sunset with his father and be like, and father and son. It'll be delightful.
You know what? All I want in life is for my dad to sing "Proud of Your Boy."
Yes, that's all
I want. We're going to make a season-long arc out of that, Dragon.
Okay, so again, Nacho's overseeing. So we see Nacho. He's in this position of I got a sense that Nacho's in a position of power that makes him uncomfortable, kind of Tuco-like. That's kind of what Mandau has a really interesting take on Nacho ascending to power, because the direct ascension. Well, let's go through it first, and I'll break it down. So the point is, so Nacho's overseeing things. The dealer comes in. The dealer's name is Blingy, by the way.
Okay.
The Blingy comes in here. He's basically a guy with a lot of piercings and everything, hence the Blingy. and he comes up short, and he's very nonchalant about it. Just kind of a little light, guys, a little light this week.
There was some dumbass festival going on. I'll make it up, bro. I'll make it up.
Like basically rent the cup, scared him off. Again, it's just a rental 5-0s at the festival. I wonder if that's like Gordon Smith being cutesy and like, hey, we put a little reference to 5-0 in here. I wonder. I don't know. Gordon Smith, he's a little rapscallion, that Gordon Smith. I don't know. So basically, the dealer comes up short. Nacho calls him over, and there's a little bit of fear in the guy's eye because Nacho's built up a little bit of a reputation in the 10 months that we the audience, were unaware of. So this surprised me. What about you?
Yeah, well, first of all, it was a clip on the AMC YouTube channel, so it didn't really surprise me that much. But
you're not supposed to watch the clips, Tiki.
I'm sorry, I can't help it, man. I'm dialed into the show. I want
to know.
No,
I'm not faulting you. I'm just saying, like I would avoid those if it were me, but I don't fault you for it anyway. So,
I mean, at the very least, I didn't see what happened.
Oh, all right. So, and Blingy comes over.
We just saw the guy like walking up to Nacho.
Right. Hello?
Very nervously, and so what happens, Dragon? What is that violent act?
Nacho calls him down, says, "Hey, come over here," and he does a very controlled bit of violence to show dominance here. Basically, he's like as if he were whispering something to the guy's ears. He gets close enough to bend down, and as he's called him over, and with one hand he rips the piercing out of his ear, and he's bleeding and everything. Passes him some napkins.
It's a very quick motion.
He is, and he says, "What you owe with interest." Now, again, with this, I love that if Nacho's in kind of this Tuco-like position, and again, my take on it is I think he feels uncomfortable with being in this Tuco-like position. But again, we don't have quite the reveal that would indicate that until what happens after this scene. I love that Nacho is a guy who does not use violence like Tuco would. I love that he's like using it in a very controlled manner, like just the right amount of force,
Mm-hmm. Sure.
What he's doing with that ear pull. Don't get me wrong, it's severe and it's leaving a mark, and again, it's a reminder. But at the same time, he's not like beating the guy like near death or anything like Tuco would.
So Crazy 8 turns around. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Or to death in Tuco's case. Sorry.
Yeah. So Crazy 8 turns around. He's like, "You had to do it, man. Guy wouldn't have learned otherwise." And Nacho's just like, "Mm-hmm. So why didn't you do anything?"
Now, Tiki, I had a read on this scene. I think this is the beginning of Crazy 8. I think Nacho, he's elevated Domingo's level of power, and that show of force, I think, is...
So just to be clear, Dragon, Domingo does not have the Crazy 8 nickname yet.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, there's a chance when he's dealing on the street, he might use that moniker. We don't know that. I think regardless, I think the Crazy 8, like the more in charge, like kind of intimidating Crazy 8 that we see, that kind of gives Jesse Pinkman his start. I think that gets started here. That's my little headcanon so far.
Gotcha.
And Tiki, I gotta tell you, just real quick, I just want to get this out here. Something dawned on me in this episode. Don't get me wrong, I mean, it's always kind of been there, but it really just kind of dawned on me with that Domingo thing. Is that you really think about it, the cartel? I mean, I just love that when we explore the cartel, when we explore Hector Salamanca and everything, especially Gus's backstory. I love that Breaking Bad was like an inevitable fate with Walter White and Jesse Pinkman, that these things were in play. The cartel is the main story behind all of Breaking Bad. Don't get me wrong. I know Walter White holds great importance. Of course, we love him and everything there. But it's kind of fascinating when you really break it down. Is that these events were already in play, and of course, just once Walter enters into this world, he basically is a cog inside the greater cartel story that has already been in play with like this whole Domingo thing. Because again, Domingo gives Jesse his start, and of course, Jesse and Walt. Yeah, basically, Domingo is Walter White's into the drug business. So all of this kind of hinges on this little moment with Domingo when you really think about it.
That's deep, man. That's deep.
Kind of heady, right?
To process that, yeah.
I say it's that this little story with Nacho, like poison Hector Salamanca. It's the genesis of Breaking Bad.
No, you're right. It was kind of like a story bug in a way. It was a story virus that kind of wove its way through the season in a good way.
And in the grander scheme of things, Tiki, think about this. Nacho, basically a story of a guy who's kind of stuck in a drug business. He's, again, a guy with possibly noble intentions, just like what Michael Mando's kind of factored into Nacho's headspace here, is that you know, his headcanon is that Nacho might have gotten into the business in the first place to get money to pay his father's bills and help him out.
Mm-hmm.
Which, of course, is very similar to what Walter White, has done. And I just love the fact that whether that's true or not, we don't know until we see it in the show, essentially. But regardless, I like the fact that a Walter White-esque kind of story of a guy getting into the drug business and getting in over his head is kind of what.
You know what, Dragon? It's almost like Walter White meets Jesse Pinkman. Transition to the next scene, if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah, and that's kind of what you have there. So speaking of which,
so yes, very, very Pinkman-esque scene, Dragon. This brought me back. This really did.
Yeah, so Nacho returns home, and by the way, I don't know how intentional this is. I haven't heard this confirmed or anything. Nacho returns home, and he has like kind of this condo, very similar to. It's kind of an extravagant version of what Walter White's condo is like.
Could be, yeah.
Look very similar. I don't know if it's like
again, Dragon. It's a Walter White style house with a Jesse Pinkman party going on inside.
Yep, he supplies his girls with some product, maybe some money too. I didn't see what the other thing he told. I think it's both 2 bags of product. Regardless, he's basically he's arming his girls with some product there.
Mm-hmm.
And we reveal that Nacho has not. He's not living it up. That's the point of this scene. We see Nacho is not living it up. Now, whether that's he's not a guy of material things, which is kind of what Michael Manday, he's on the Insider podcast, and kind of gave us an insight to. He thinks that Nacho's not a guy of material things, and he's just kind of stuck in the business, and he just doesn't want, he just wants to make money. That's why he's in the business. That's kind of what his kind of sentiment on things was. Or the literal interpretation, which will work absolutely fine. It's just not just coming home and just like giving the girls the product, and basically his mind is on other things, which is what we do reveal at the end of the scene. So regardless, he's distracted. I think that's the main point here. He goes to his safe. And
the beating heart of Nacho, if you will.
Exactly, and I love that metaphor. He basically goes to the safe and all the things that he cares about most. Again, outside of the drugs, the money, the whole the cartel stuff. Again, Nacho's in a really high position of power right now. He's on top of the world right now. He has everything he could in the business really want.
Again, Dragon, there's no way anything could possibly come along that could possibly usurp his power.
Certainly, no, not a chance. Nothing. Not a. So in this safe, what's in the safe, Tiki?
2 Canadian ID cards for him and his papa.
Yes, Mr. Varga. So again, we see just Nacho has his mind on 2 things.
Mr. Varga, as we've already established, is like one of the most kind-hearted and tragic characters in the ABQ verse.
Yes, Mr. Varga. I mean, it was kind of floated around. He might be the most moral character. And when you really think of that, I'm trying to think of anyone more moral than I think he might be the most moral.
I think we might have a contender. Him and Walter Jr.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So basically, Nacho. The point is whether Nacho wants the things on the side or just is kind of stuck with the things on the side. The point is, at his core, what's in his heart right now, his main focus is still what it was 10 months ago. Is still on escape, basically having an escape plan and saving his father. So those are the 2 things that Nacho's focused on right now. Hence the Canadian IDs, which I wondered, a little tease in my spec here. I wonder if it's either a foreshadow or just kind of like a connected idea to Gene or or Ed, our vacuum cleaner salesman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking again we might have a direct correlation to Ed with all of this. We'll see. So I'm going to tease that up a little bit there.
All right.
So also we see that Nacho's his wounds have healed, but there's scars and everything, and he's in a red shirt. Of course, colors of criminality. Never forget the red and the yellow, folks. Red could be dead. Yellow, could be hostile. So,
okay, so on to my personal favorite storyline of the episode, Dragon, and our favorite character. It's Mike.
Yes.
Dragon, you like how I put Mike and Gus kind of below the Germans? The Germans are up above, but Mike and Gus are below, kind of watching over them.
I gotta be honest to you, I think that's really clever, and I do like that.
All right, thank you.
I approve of that choice. I like that. So of course, we love Jonathan Banks. Not only do we love Jonathan Banks, what we love even more so is the character of Mike Ehrmantraut that he has brought to life. One of the landmark performances of the man's career, and he's played Rick Dicker, and that's no slouch either. That's great. That's fun. But Mike Ehrmantraut, that's one for the ages. That's a performance. But in the grand scheme of the great TV characters and the great supporting characters of all of television, Mike Ehrmantraut has a little cozy chair and little crossword puzzle, little thermos of coffee at the ready. There's drinking to his success of, yeah, I did it.
Eating a pimento sandwich.
Yep, looking at a little photo of Kaylee with a smile. It's like, oh, I did it in life. So the point is that we love Mike. We like to commemorate with like a little earmark of each episode, kind of like a little scrapbook of Jonathan Banks' The Wonderment, and that's kind of what we have here before us. So we started a strip club, which again I haven't heard confirmation on this. I could just be reading this. I wonder if it's the same strip club that Jesse Pinkman wasted the money on in Breaking Bad.
Yeah, right.
I wonder. Anyway, so we see the Germans. They're having fun. Like, Mike is taking a gamble here. I got to hit this because this is important for the whole episode thematically. So I got to hit this here so I don't forget about it later on. So Coushatta is very directly. It's Coushatta, Louisiana. Now, folks, if you type in Coushatta on the internet, the casino is going to pop up, Coushatta Casino. And in the previous scene, I meant to bring this up, in Nacho's scene, for a reason I still have no idea why, Nacho is holding a poker chip. He was holding that poker chip. And
that's right. Yeah.
All my speculation for this episode was it was going to relate to the Coushatta Casino, and Coushatta Casino is essentially it's an Indian, or probably a Native American, but the age-old Indian casino gag. But the point is, it's a Native American casino, and there's like the famous one. I presume it's in Louisiana. I know they have a few of them. I think the main one's in Louisiana. So I wonder if maybe that's the reason for the poker chip. And all my speculation was there's going to be like a casino plot. Again, I have no idea why Nacho has that. But my point is, thematically, and I still think this might hold true. You can tell me if I'm crazy on this, Tiki. I think thematically, there are a lot of gambles in this episode. This big save Hugh plot, I think in itself is a big gamble. But
most definitely.
And I think thematically, we do have other gambles in the episode. And of course, Mike took a big gamble here, taking his guys to the outside world, taking them beyond the confines of the kind of the working space. Mm-hmm. And I feel Mike is he's taking a leap here, and we're going to see if he comes out unscathed on the other side here. So he's taking the Germans outside to have some fun, blow off some steam at a strip club, so they can kind of be more happy, basically, so they're whistling while they work, so to speak. So they're all having fun, but on Tiki, this one I'm talking about the visual direction. Jim McKay did such a great job with this episode. Tiki, this scene I was so enamored by when I was watching it. Without a single word of dialogue, what we do in this scene is we see, okay, the Germans are having fun. A little Stefan Kapusik, Casper there's going to live it up. Good for him. Everything's going great here for the Germans, and Mike's just there because he has to be, and he notices off to the side Werner. He's all alone, sitting at the bar. Mike goes over, and again, we see a conversation going on. We don't hear a lick of it. And basically, Mike motions to his guy, and we know what's going on here. Oh, Werner's all alone, and he wants to take Werner to a place where he's going to, again, he's an older guy, like not really a part of this young strip club crowd. He says, you know what? This guy's going to go to a quieter space. I'm going to take him to a quieter space. I'm going to watch him personally because, I like Werner. I like hanging out with him. So, boom, next scene, we're in Mike's pub.
Nothing could possibly go wrong with this at all, right, Dragon?
I didn't think anything was going to go wrong with this. I was surprised. I
gotta say, as soon as this happened, I was a little on edge about it from the get-go. I had my guard up.
I was more worried about the strip club of it all, and I knew that was going to go south. But I mean, this whole thing in the pub, and remember, this is Mike's taking an even bigger risk here because this is like the pub that the bar that Mike goes in the Albuquerque verse. This is the one where this is the place where he punched Walter White, and this is the place where he bought the round for the house in season 2.
Right.
So this is like Mike is really opening himself up to Werner here. Again, we saw 10 months, a really good friendship has developed. So I'm loving the Mike and Werner relationship here. And of course, something really bad is going to happen to that.
I'm terrified. I'm terrified for Werner. I really am.
I'm with you.
I'm terrified for all the Germans, Dragon. I think something very, very bad is about to happen.
Oh, God. So we have this really beautiful conversation. Tiki, this is such a great conversation. Again, we see such a trust and friendship that has developed between these two men, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I love the personal...
I think Werner is probably one of the most valuable characters that we've had added to the show since season 1, honestly.
I think you're right. So we have this really personal conversation. Again, we don't really spell this out, but I like that it's there. They give him the whole talk episode. Given episode 4, give him the whole Maddie thing of it all.
You want me to talk? I talked.
I'm just saying this basically they have a conversation about fathers and about fatherhood. And again, mainly about, about their fathers. And you gotta imagine this is opening up kind of an emotional can of worms for Mike on some level. He's not showing it. He's kind of has a poker face about it here. But again, you gotta imagine there's some room. Again, it's a real personal conversation for him, but he's having it.
Sure.
Warner shares this really great fact, and again, Gordon Smith, God bless him, whoever came up with this, it was Gordon or someone who suggested this. I love the story that Warner tells here that his father was one of the engineers who worked on the Sydney Opera House.
Mm-hmm.
His father worked with his hands, and working with his hands, of course, again, made me think of that flashback with Mike and Maddie working with his hands.
Oh yeah.
So his father built the concrete arches for the Sydney Opera House, and it took him 10 years. Essentially, in the grand scheme, it took 10 years of his life to do that. And again, like it's kind of the big kind of crowning achievement of his father's life. While this is going on, there's like a guy at the bar who's like he basically corrects him the pronunciation of beer. It's like Hefeweizen, I think, or Hefeweizen.
Dragon, as soon as this happened, as soon as the interaction was happening with Warner and the other guy, I was like, uh-oh.
I'm with you there.
Alarm bells started going off. I'm like, ooh, this could be bad. And you can even see Mike in the middle of it. He's literally in the middle of the shot, and he's looking back and forth, and he's just like, should Warner be like actively talking to these people right now?
It's a thing, low profile. Should be keeping a low profile. I was thinking that during this scene, Tiki, when that happened. I was like, but then I guess then Mike was conversing with him, so I thought it was fine. They got me. They got me. So let's see. So basically, yeah, there's this guy here in the bar, and he basically Warner, being a really nice and friendly guy, maybe a little too friendly in this case. He buys him a drink. He buys him the drink he's inquiring about. Nice guy, that Warner. Mm-hmm. So then he's asking Mike about his father, and oh my god, and then Jonathan Banks here. Oh man, this is why we have like a We Heart Mike's a little tableau here, folks. This is why. Mike says, "Oh, my dad. Oh, he left behind a cold water flood and then a stack of bills." Oh my god, that's a great line about that. Honestly, that's all we ever need of Mike's past in relation to him.
All you need to know for sure.
That's kind of all you need. So the line like that. Oh my god, like that paints such a picture in my head. That's all I ever need. And then we have this beautiful line by Warner. I love Warner so much. I'm so afraid for him. He says, "Oh, that's not true, Michael. He left you. He also left you, Michael. You're his legacy." It's like, oh my god, it's so sweet and personal. And again, Mike being all about the legacies and everything. Like, yes, about the legacy that he left.
By the way, I'm also going to tell you about the wife that I left behind, who I've been married to for 25 years, just to add on to the fact that I'm a guy that you should be rooting for on a personal level.
But think about this scene here, Tiki, because Mike initiates this, and again, this just shows you it's a little crack in the again, it's like reading between the lines here, but Mike then initiates the question of like, what about you? Have you ever thought about becoming a papa? And again, bringing that up, that's kind of Mike opening up a little bit about Maddie, not in a group setting, but in a very intimate setting with Warner here. He's kind of opening up about, what about you? Do you have kids? Again, who knows how this conversation might have continued. He says all he has is Marguerite. He says Margaret, but it's spelled with that E. I don't know if it's Marguerite, if it's supposed to be Margaret. The point is his wife of 26 years hasn't been away been married to her for at least 26 years, and this is the longest he's ever been away for her, and she's enough for me. That's all I need. And they toast the home. It's like, oh god, he wants to go home to see his wife, but he's not complaining, and that's great. But then Mike's called away. This is kind of big, kind of the fall here. So Mike's called away because of some strip club shenanigans, and he takes a gamble. He trusts Warner because again, that trust is developed. He trusts Warner to be alone, and that is going to be a big mistake. We're outside the strip club. What happens?
Well, good old red herring himself, Kai, is making an ass out of himself yet again. Do you agree that Kai is like the ultimate red herring?
Well, now, yes. I mean, before, like Kai's obviously he's a target on. I said we know that much.
Yeah, but I feel like Kai's not the guy we should be worried about at all.
I think you're right about that. Yeah.
Like, if anything happens to Kai, it's not going to be dramatic at all. It's just going to be like, oh, and Kai, okay.
Yeah, Kai just stubbed his toe. He's fine.
I'm sorry, what?
I just stubbed his toe. He's fine.
Yeah, right.
Like,
it's merely a flesh wound.
like Casper comes over there and says, "Oh, Kai, what happened to you? Oh man, I bumped my toe. It
All right.
hurt. Are you okay? Can you still work? Yeah, I just bumped my toe, man. It's hurt. That's all."
So
Anyway,
Kai's been getting a little too touchy-feely with the girls in the strip club. The bouncer's about to call the cops, but Mike's of course going to smooth it over. Of course, he kind of pulls out his wallet, as we see with Jimmy. You know, it's kind of a shade between Mike and Jimmy this episode, where they're both using money to their advantage.
but here's what I love most about this team. Again, this is like another Jonathan Banks special right here. I love that Banks. Again, this is Mike the Fixer in action here, and it's perfect.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mike, he does all the right things here, and I love that he treats the bouncer and the strip club with respect. And I think that's what really wins the guy over. It's not just the money. I think just Mike handling this is what wins the guy over. That's what I like to think. Don't earn the money, I'm sure. In the cynical world, the money plays a role. But I mean, come on, that was, it was nice here because Mike, he's very unhappy with Kai. And by the way, it's the little side note here. We get to see him in a bigger role this time. Nick is the big guy. The big guy who basically is like, holding Kai back and basically taking Kai away. That guy who's telling Mike the situation. Nick was the guy, one of Mike's crew, one of Fring's crew, that in Breaking Bad he gets killed by the sniper during that big Gus Fring kind of sniper off.
Gotcha.
I'm saying that's, if you ever need to remember Nick, that was his big kind of moment. So yeah, Kai's out of control. He's being unfriendly with the girls. He stops the bouncer from calling the cops by taking responsibility. He says, "This idiot goes home and sleeps it off." And again, Kai just kind of tries to test Mike. He says, "You're done. Go on, try me." Thanks. So this is the bit that kills me. This is like, oh man, I love Banks. For Banks is Mike's asking about the girl. How's the girl? Is she okay? He says, "No, she'll live. She'll be okay." And he paid, and this is for her trouble too. And that's the Mike I know, baby. That's the Mike I know.
Oh yeah.
He says, "Are we all good?" "Yeah, man, we're all good." Yes. Oh my God,
well,
yes.
You know what's not good, Dragon? You know what's not good? Werner's situation after this scene.
Werner's had a few since Mike's left here. Werner's kind of gotten drunken and friendly.
I'm so terrified.
Iggy, the moment I saw him making this sketch, I know, like, oh my God.
Yep.
Werner, to summarize it here, Werner's he's made friends with the guy he bought a beer for earlier at the pub, and he's sketching. Basically, importantly, it's non-specific, but essentially he's drawing the exact structure of what the super lab's going to look like, but, nondescript on a coaster. And he's showing these guys, and he's kind of talking engineer with these guys. And what happens is Werner, he's basically, this is what kills me too. Werner's such a delightful little teacher. He's like, "There you go, using your brain." Yeah. He's so delightful. That's the thing. Like, we know Werner's not doing this because he's stupid. He's doing this because he's drunk and he's a nice guy.
Right.
He's just being so nice. And then Mike comes in and he just kind of taps on the shoulder. Again, Mike, like a friend here, he says, "Your wife's calling," and it's like his tip off, like, "Okay, seriously, you got to go right now." And Werner's sleeping it off in the car. And you see, and Tiki, this moment kills me, or Mike, he's like outside in the car here, you see he's a little troubled. He knows something bad just happened here. It's, oh boy, it's something bad's gonna happen. We'll see that later on. So, what's going on with Kim?
All right, let's see. We see her talking with, or I'm sorry, we see her with the headphones on. Going over the Huel case. Really loud music playing as Jimmy's walking over to her.
Yes. And basically, he tells Kim that he's setting up for the next phase of the nail salon that we're going to see a little later on. He's asking if she wants any food. She says, "No, I got leftovers here. You get yourself something though." Which basically that's kind of code for, we still got that divide going on here. At least that was
pretty much. Yeah. By the way, guys, status quo hasn't changed.
Yep. And of course, I love visually here. Again, I'm reading into this fish as a coup de grace symbol. By the way, just keep doing that, so forgive me.
Oh, it totally is in season 4. It really.
The fish again is a symbol. The fish is a symbol of Saul Goodman, and I'm going to read into it even further. Get ready for this. Buckle up for this, buddy boy. Okay, so the fish is a symbol of Saul Goodman, the criminality, because it's a connection to the vet, and it's kind of like Saul knows guys who knows guys. And we've kind of set this up in that montage from episode 7. There's a point when I love that Kim's in the frame of the fish, and so like she's grappling with her feelings of Saul Goodman and everything, and kind of like the fish of criminality. But here's the bigger reach. Okay, it kind of reminds me of again, it's this goldfish here. And it kind of reminds me of Jimmy in the pool from season 2, and that's kind of where Kim's going to be going in her arc this season. It's like she's going to be in that slipping Jimmy pool phase. So I wonder if maybe there's a bit of, again, she's spending time with us. Maybe she's becoming acclimated to the fish. I don't know.
Sure.
Okay, a little bit of a reach, but anyway, let's go to the nail salon.
All right. Oh God. So let's see. So we see Jimmy with a bunch of different phones setting up. We don't know exactly what he's doing. Of course, the mystery is kind of building.
Oh, by the way, I love how we go from fish tank to fish tank, and also we're on the mic image.
Oh, thank you. All right.
But yes, Jimmy's setting up for the next phase, and yeah, I didn't quite get what he was doing here either, because I was just kind of enamored by the beauty of the scene here, where we have this really great scene between Mrs. Nguyen, and I love it when they do Mrs. Nguyen too. I can't get enough of Mrs. Nguyen; she's so much fun. Mrs. Nguyen, and this is the most beautiful scene these two have had together, by the way. And I was like almost reaching for a tissue box because it was so beautiful. I was like, oh my god, it's so nice. I must sound like such a just, like I was watching a soap opera or something during this episode. It's like all the relationships, those, oh my god, so beautiful. And murder, he's like Connor, and like all this stuff. So dialed into the episode.
Right.
So Mrs. Nguyen, she's kind of sympathetic to Jimmy here. Like she brings him a drink and the plastic cup, which I don't know if it was cucumber water or not, but she's bringing him like the drink and everything. And she always gives Jimmy
sake.
I think you're right. I think it is sake. I'm just saying, like, it's the cup that's reminiscent of the cucumber water. She's bringing them, but she's being nice to the little lawyer. It's like, at the end of the day, Tika, what I love about Mrs. Nguyen is she chews Jimmy out now. She gives Jimmy a hard time, but at the end of the day, she likes that little lawyer.
You apologize to her. You take her to dinner. Nice place with a waiter and cloth napkin.
I love that she has that great thing, Tika. She says, "Is your wife mad at you?"
Mm-hmm.
And not my wife, but again, he kind of stops there because again, Tika, that in the making of this, they've always kind of said that Jimmy is, again, they're married. Wexler McGill is a marriage in everything but an actual marriage. Like that's the closest thing they're going to get to marriage, almost.
Right.
At the end of the day, they are married, but they won't say it,
So basically, Miss Nguyen is saying, you apologize to her. And Jimmy, he has this haunting line that we've kind of been, it kind of sums everything up about the Jimmy and Kim relationship before we get to a certain point in the episode. And that's, I think we might be past that.
That's such a sad, poignant moment where Jimmy is romantically defeated here. And we've seen this, and I love that we've seen this to you, that Jimmy has done everything that he can do to make this right. And again, it's not an issue that, he's done everything you can do to fix this. And like don't taking her out to a dinner he knows that won't fix anything. It's just gonna be the same issue because he's offered to get her dinner every which way.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. And Mrs. Nguyen kind of picks up on that vibe here, and she I'll leave the bottle. She leaves the bottle and she she closes up because he's gonna be there alone. She's gonna it's a really sweet moment between these two. I can't get enough of it.
Yeah. Okay, meanwhile, we cut to Kim, and she's got basically an entourage backing her.
This is great. These, I believe, are the exact same guys that we saw last episode at the Schweiker and Coakley party. These are her Schweiker and Coakley assistants from the firm.
She's going in basically with her A-team, if you will.
The K-team, actually. Yes. So Kim, she's just to summarize this a little bit. There's a lot of legalese here. But,
yeah.
She's trying to get time served. Basically, time served with 3 to 6 months probation for Huel here, with a plea, like they'll plea down to a misdemeanor, like misdemeanor battery, essentially. Now, Kim, basically, she's willing to, again, this is Gordon Smith at his finest here with all the legalese and everything. Here's Gordon Smith getting it right. Kim is planning on going to trial. Like, okay, we're going to trial, and she's pulling out all the stops, hence all the lawyers and like kind of expertise in their departments here. They're pulling out all the stops. They're buying their time essentially here by kind of by piling on all the legalese to kind of delay it, to kind of buy it time, and basically make sure that on paper it seems that we're treating this like it was like a very high profile case, but it's a very small time case. And we're going to see why exactly she's doing that later on. She's covering her bases for later on when this is going to be put up to question. It's really what she's doing here, and like she's asking about, we got to subpoena security cameras, get more witnesses in on this, get all the information, get the officer's record, and then this is where she kind of the coup d'état right here when she drops on the ADA's lap here, ADA Erickson's lap, and also might be there's a civil. We're going to file some civil motions here. We're going to contact the ACLU because we think Hugh Babineau's civil rights might have been violated. That's a biggie.
And as soon as I heard that, I was like, "Yep, called it."
Yeah,
that's where they were going with it.
yeah, I did. I forgot that you said, but now you bring up, yeah, you did call that.
So importantly, called, like no matter what, I knew that her plan had something to do with like the whole, the police brutality and all that, and yeah.
So importantly, the ADA does not flinch. So it's going to be very important. So far, again, that like I think Kim's plan A is that she'll flinch and they can just basically everything will be fine. But she's prepared though. Kim's prepared though, but at the same time, still it's a huge gamble of a plan here. The ADA does not flinch. And she mentions that she's paying like 3 lawyers $400 an hour, and it is not and it's not pro bono. By she Kim's like paying these guys for the day. At least that's what she says. I assume that. I don't know. Maybe she is. Maybe they're just doing a favor for it. I don't know. Anyways, well, I guess we'll see. Like Kim's not blinking either. Kim's got a good poker face in this scene. But again, she walks out. And we see she's a little nervous here. Again, this is a huge gamble for her career. Like one the judge chews her out, she could be done for.
Oh, it really is. It really is.
Meanwhile. Here we go. Take us to Mike's scene, Tiki.
Well, hold on. The Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Mike's scene. Got it. Okay, so we're back at the giant warehouse. And we see Warner is kind of stumbling around still. He's still a little bit, maybe a little hungover, if you will. Mike walks over to him, and let's see. Basically, Warner's like, "Is something the matter, Michael?" And Mike, he just kind of pulls out the
coaster.
Yeah, sorry, the coaster with the drawing on it, and Warner, he's trying to defend himself. He's like, well, look, it's all could be a skyscraper, could be for a box of shoes. I didn't give any details. The Mike's just like, nope, you're a German in the middle of Albuquerque talking about a secret construction project. That's
German national.
Why? Yeah.
So the point is, he's and of course Warner relents and he owns up to it. Like, yes, I might have. I had a lot of beer and I may have spilled more details than I should have. And then Mike basically, to summarize a little bit here, so Mike basically warns him about working for Gus Fring. This is a man you do not want to make mistakes with. And he's made a major mistake here, and then it boils down to Warner. Warner gets the gravity of the mistake, and that I think Mike and I think us the audience, I think we're all kind of sympathetic to that. Warner gets how big he screwed up here, and he genuinely apologizes. And again, he's friendly with Mike, and he owns up to it. Says yes, that was he gives his word that it will not happen again, and I take his word on that. But Mike, again, Mike he holds on to the coaster. And again, it seems like Mike accepts that, but there's a question of how much Mike would trust him going forward. And of course, there's definitely some doom in the air with this dynamic. But point is, Mike seems to. I don't know if Mike's ever going to trust him the same way again, but he definitely still has a soft spot for Warner, hence him like holding on to the coaster and everything. So, next scene. Oh god, now Tiki, this scene, I was like pumping my fist in the air, like, yes, this episode is so good.
I have a question for you, Miss Erickson. Are you prosecuting Santa Claus? Because it looks like Miracle on 34th Street in here.
I was so in love.
Dragon, of course, what's so great about this is that the last time we saw this judge, he was basically saying, like, there are no miracle cases, Miss Wexler, not in the real world.
Tiki love this scene so much. So Judge Tiki, this scene, I love it on. Okay, let me break. There's a lot to unpack here. Okay, real quick. So Judge Munsinger. So this is the very same judge that again told Kim, no such things like the movie cases, essentially the TV, the leak cases. And Munsinger here, he was the one who kind of inspired her to do the PD work. So Kim has a rapport with this judge, and this judge is kind of funny, and he's like a no-holds-barred type of judge. So Munsinger's fun, and we set him up.
I feel like in a perfect role, this guy would be played by Wallace Shawn.
I like this guy too.
I like this guy too. I'm just saying, like in a perfect, like this guy's like almost like a, like a substitute Wallace Shawn.
Okay. So, and again, visually, I love Tiki. What killed me is when he said that line. He said, "It looks like a Miracle on 34th Street here." It does. It looks identical to Miracle on 34th Street with all the letters. They're really being turned over. I was rolling on the floor like, "Oh my, that's hilarious." So visually, just in what is presented, I love it. But then when it's again, basically throughout this episode, I'm just piecing together what the con is, and I love it every step of the way, and it keeps getting better. And it's like one of those moments, like, oh my god, all the letters were coming here, and again, she's covered all of her legal bases, and that's what she's doing in this scene right here. So basically, again, summarize a little bit of it here. Munsinger, he's received all of these mercy for Babineau letters. Like he's sending him to the, it's like they're treating me like I'm sending him to the electric chair. And this is not a case that warrants a media circus, so why am I getting a media circus response on this? And he asks if it's Kim's doing it. I love, again, it's a fine line here. Here's a Rorschach quality of the scene. Is Kim lying? I mean, she's not necessary, because she didn't directly do this. She did buy the office supplies, though, so...
Well, she initiated the whole plan, Dragon. The whole thing wouldn't go off without her. It's her. She masterminded it. So, yeah, she very much did it.
And, of course, in my
opinion.
If you want to make the legal argument, well, these aren't really letters from real people, so technically there's no crime there. But it's... the point is... the point's like she's walking a very thin line is what I'm getting at here between direct lying to a judge and not lying to a judge, I suppose. The point, she's walking a very fine, risky gamble of a line here. But she does say that he's touched a lot of lives in his hometown, which is going to lead to a lot of support, and we believe that there's like people are going to be out here during the case and everything. And this is where Kim's brilliant. Here's where I love this here. She puts the ADA on the spot, saying that she knows all the ins and outs of the cases, therefore she shouldn't be surprised by this. And because again, Kim's checked all the boxes with all those lawyers in the earlier scene. So Munsinger here, she's like, "Can I see a few of those? Just take them all. Just take all." He's so infuriated. He's so baffled and stressed out by these letters. I love it. It just makes me up. And because you two work it out. We tried doing that, Judge. Well, try again.
Oh my god.
The important note is that the judge does not want a media circus on this case. This is all it's a brilliant payoff, and this is kind of Kim getting back at the judge a little bit for him like putting her on the spot and chewing her out a little bit with that false hope message. So
it is.
This is all great. So then we have the AD. What's the ADA doing?
She's I'm sorry. Sorry. She's going full force, Dragon. She's going full force. Like, all right, they want a trial. Let's give them a trial. We're gonna dig up everything we can about Heel Babineau. Call the arresting officer and find out what happened. I want to know associates. I want to know places of residence. They're pulling apart. They're pulling tables together. She's dumping the letters out. It's very Dragon. I find it interesting because this is one of the first times in the Better Call Saul timeline that we're seeing, a storyline that's not from Jimmy, Kim, Mike, or Nacho's perspective.
Yes, and so we think, because of course one of our characters is about to make an entrance into the scene. Well, I mean, he's about to be heavily involved in the other end of the scene. So.
All right.
But yes, and of course, you're right. I mean, we didn't really see that, and we saw that at Time Breaking Bad. But yeah, this is kind of the first time we are doing something like that. So I think you're absolutely right about that. Let's see. So again, she's getting all the details and everything there, and they're sifting through the letters. They're sifting through the letters and looking it up online. Very rudimentary laptop, and again, kind of circa 2004 laptop makes all sense. And she's reading the letter, and basically, save Huel, and like he's the sweetest, kindest man. Says, "Oh man, they do make him sound like Santa Claus." Love that realization there, and then they're calling a few of the numbers that are enclosed within the letters, which again, the calculated plan. I love this. So that, again, this plan keeps getting better and better. So she leaves a message to a Mr. Fontaine or Fontaine, and she leaves a letter. She leaves a message for a guy, and again, here's the thing. I know it's the voice of one of our characters coming up. By the way, it's kind of clever. So pre-recorded message, and she leaves a message at the information and everything. So then she then calls Miss Eloise Luckard.
Luckard,
yes. calls Eloise here, and basically this woman on the other end of the phone, she's glowing, absolutely glowing about Huel. Oh, I love
Oh, I
Huel.
love you. I just love you.
Basically, it boils down to
Dragon,
her
I
like,
was watching this with my dad, and my dad just absolutely dying at this scene. All right, he was just cracking up.
you wouldn't happen to be a Huel Hauser fan. Does he know who Huel? You've seen all Breaking Bad, right?
Oh yes, he knows Huel. Yeah.
Good, good. Because I mean, so I just wonder if anyone just kind of any newcomers to the show, or like of an older,
Like, what is the big deal with this Huel guy?
yeah, like man, Huel Hauser. I mean, he
Dragon,
was.
that's the thing. This episode is one of the more fan servicey episodes of Better Call Saul, but I don't think in a bad way.
Because I mean, I really do think he's from Louisiana, Tiki. I just don't. I honestly I doubt the rest of this. You know, no, seriously, I do think he's actually from. I think basically, I think Jimmy just kind of needed someone to work with, and he found out he's from Louisiana. He's ran with it. I really think that's what happened with all of this. So let's see. Because you have to pick Louisiana for a specific reason. It has to be that. What was that? Oh yeah. So basically, she's boil it down here. She then chews the AD ad like you're persecuting you, and she gives the church's name. Importantly, the Free Will Baptist Church. Again, Tiki, this to me, I'm reading into this. It says the Free Will Baptist Church, and I am says that I think it's will because of Jimmy McGill making wills and everything. Made a will called McGill. I don't know. I thought that. So then they're pulling up this donation site as they're sifting through everything here. We see this donation site about essentially it's a Save Huel website. Exactly what you see before.
Oh my god, Dragon! The image of Huel is just like never-endingly delightful. All right,
we have a bunch of these. There are a bunch of these great images. That the idea is that Huel did not run away, but what they've done is they've either photoshopped or most likely gotten Huel to pose for a bunch of these photos.
Oh my god, that's wonderful.
Because remember, Huel didn't run away. And that's the thing. So Huel hasn't run away, and there's them working to help exonerate, Huel out of Dodger. So most likely he's posed for a bunch of these pictures, and it's just
I would dare I say Huel is maybe holed up in a safe house right now.
I'd like to say that, but I'm going to say no. but God, what was I getting at? Oh yes. So we have this, and basically, of course, the Save Huel website. This whole website idea, and by the way, most likely you can find this website somewhere. And the way these work, like as the website for Walter White is still up, by the way. You can find a Save Walter White thing. And you can actually donate. They're going to donate to the actual charity. This is probably going to go to an actual church. At the very least, with Walter White, it goes to an actual cancer charity. Still, I think. Fun fact there. So again, this sets up the idea. This is where Jimmy got the idea, where Saul Goodman got the idea for the Save Walter White website to help launder the money.
Right.
So it's brilliant. So all I saw was like I was geeking out so much during this. Oh my god, the donation website! That's brilliant. So then we reveal who's on the other end. Basically, the girl's now chewing out the ADA, and who's on the other end of the phone.
Yeah, I forget the exact name of the girl, Dragon. I'm terribly sorry.
Remember, the film crew we reveal it's the film crew.
We reveal it's the film crew. We see Kid Kubrick sitting there with her, and we see the makeup girl. Drake, do you have the name on her?
Well, their nickname is she's credited as Drama Girl, but they switch it up now and again. It's either Drama Girl or Makeup Girl, but it is officially Drama Girl.
Okay.
But yes, so yeah, you're not wrong.
She still didn't have a first name.
I'm saying they're like none of them have first names. Dude.
Okay.
They have Josh Faden playing Kid Kubrick. We have Kid Kubrick. We have Boom Guy, and we have Drama Girl.
Gotcha.
First of all, love the film crew. Love whenever those guys come.
I'm so glad they got to make a return because I was actually just thinking like, hey, we haven't seen the film crew this season. I hope they show up this season.
My God, they came back at the perfect point in the season. They
really
did. I
feel like they came back like right before the storm hit.
Yeah.
For a little bit of levity. A little bit of levity before the storm hits in episode 9.
And I tell you, I love that they're all crammed in Jimmy's office. I love that we're using Jimmy's cramped office, and the nail salon to do all of this. They're all kind of all sitting there. This film crew in a confined space, like the Esteem from last season, just them in confined spaces is fun. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
So Jimmy basically has set up in his office a telemarketing. Basically, it's like a telemarketing office of burner phones, like all sprawled out across the.
I just have to laugh at like how elaborate this plan is, and I love how perfectly the burner phone thing came together.
Last night, what he was doing, this new one, he was putting labels on the phone. And now we know what
Right,
these
right.
labels are for. He was labeling the phones to know what phones go to who and like what fake names they go to. And again, so well orchestrated, so well laid out here. And basically, what Jimmy's doing here, this is the cherry on top. This brings home Kim's plan, which may have worked already, but this is what brings it home. Basically, it shakes off any scrutiny for the plan here. So Jimmy has instructed them, and I love this, T. If you want to rewatch, especially, you see each of them have a very specific designated role in this room here. So the boom guy, he's manning the sounds. Like he's most likely constructed the pre-recorded message. Like he was probably the guy on the other end of the phone call, on that message that she left, and he's running like the background noise of the scene and everything. He has a CD player. It's a CD player of like the background noise of like kids playing or an organ for the upcoming moment here. Kid Kubrick is manning the website of the donations and everything, basically having a donation whenever they're calling or they're looking at a donation will come up, and that's because of Kid Kubrick on the other end there. And Drama Girls get handling all the female calls. So anyway,
I know Jesus is listening, so I'll just say, shame on you.
Beautiful. I love this relationship that's cultivated between Jimmy and Drama Girl, because they had that beautiful moment that made me shed a tear in episode 7 of last season. Where it was like she offered him the money back. You need this money. It was so beautiful, and I love it. It's like he's giving her props here. He says, "Hey, not bad. I've been taking improv classes." So we see this carousel of Huel photos. I've been, we were mentioned that. So then Jimmy gets a call from the church because she's giving the information.
Like in the wall, and you just like got that smile on his face. Then he's raking the leaves. It's perfect.
Oh yes, and this keeps getting better as we find out what Huel's done. Then we see the correlating photos, by the way. But okay, so Jimmy then gets a call as his character, Pastor Hansford. He's basically it's Bob Odenkirk, and he's done characters like this on Mr. Show, by the way. He's walking alive, Jimmy McGill playing a Mr. Show character, essentially. So Pastor Hansford, he's basically kind of this New Orleans kind of pastor. He basically has a New Orleans voice, kind of a Louisiana and kind of New Orleans accent. As with this organ music playing behind him on the CD player, and again, Jimmy's selling all the little. Jimmy knows how to sell a con here, and as we've seen time and time again. He's pulling an ultimate Slippin Jimmy here with he's like, "Hey, turn that music down, boy." Like all
Clarence is going at it over on the microphone there.
So basically, I'm sorry, you want to take us through this?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Do you want me to do it word for word?
We should probably summarize it.
Okay.
But we're not going to do any justice, folks. We're saving you some heartache there. So
You're right. Well, basically, as the scene goes on, it's like, well, what kind of person would you say Mr. Babidoo is? Oh, well, I'd say he's a lovely person, both inside and out. Basically, he kind of, at the end of the day, kind of spins the story of Huel saving the elderly people from the fire that broke out during Bible study.
During their night Bible study.
Because some of the people, they like to brush up on the Bible here before going to bed, you see.
And remember what started the fire? It was the coffee maker short-circuited. It caused the fire. And Huel burst through the door, and he carried each one of those oldsters out.
And as far as I can understand, what happened down there was a misunderstanding, and Huel was helping a friend. That's a Huel I know. And
this, to me, felt like a bit of a gamble, because I was on the edge of my seat during the end of this call, because I thought Jimmy was tipping his hand too much. It was just, a misunderstanding, saving his friend. Yeah, I was a little worried, but again, it all works out here, because what he does is look, I love this. I always says, "Oh, I know you're doing your job, and that's all. Doing your job, and that's all fine." And basically saying they're going to show their support. Says, I wonder if you could do me a kindness, dear. If you could tell me the trial date so I can charter a bus to take all the whole congregation down outside the courthouse to support Huel. And again, this is just what Kim predicted in the earlier scenes. So again, the ADA is what she's feared. Basically, Jimmy's confirming what what Kim has predicted here, and it's like, oh god, we're in trouble here. This is the circus I want to avoid here. So this is the nail in the coffin for the ADA's hopes of convicting old Huel Babineau here. So, so basically, so again, the call is ended, and Jimmy, like this great moment of pause here, of like it's like a Jaws moment of like, do you hear anything? And basically, no more calls are coming in. She's asking, is it over? And he takes the church phone and says, okay, listen, you pick up every third call. You leave messages for, like, just let them all go to voicemail. Anything else that comes in, you follow the script. And, of course, Kid Kubrick, in classic fashion, Kid Kubrick's always concerned about the money, and he never wants to be there. He just wants to, like, so what, you're supposed to be here all day? You're paid for the day. You stay till I say you can't. So then we had, now this bit made me on edge too. I probably shouldn't have, but just maybe on edge here, because Jimmy's watching Kim having the conversation with the ADA on the other side of the door, and I was like, I was terrified Jimmy was going to be spotted here. Like, oh god, what if Jimmy gets spotted? She's going to know the whole thing's a con.
Well, I guess the episode just kind of puts you in a paranoid mood, right?
It does. Because I was just like, we're like, oh boy, if he's seen, then the whole thing goes kaput.
Oh god. So
then here's the big shock, and here's the big left turn that I was so delayed that we veered into here, where Jimmy's waiting on the outside, and we kind of show Kim walking out there, and they have this little private moment in the hallway that escalates into basically Kim lays one on Jimmy like it's a movie from the 40s essentially. And I tell you, I was like, again, like a fist pumping moment in the air here, like, yes, the relationship is intact, the love is back, the love is back. Yes,
subverting expectations.
But seriously, how refreshing was this? How great was this? Like, we didn't see this coming, did we?
No, and I can't say that it's going to be all that good, Dragon. It's going to be a short-term relief for sure.
I know. And then it's the question, like, how much of a respite we're going to get here. But it was a great moment, though. It's just building up the fall. I mean, there's going to be tragic when they slip this rug out from under. It's just a question of when.
All right, so we see some bedroom talk between Jimmy and Kim. Are you sure you want it again? Are you sure you're ready for it? Yeah.
Real quick before you execute that hilarious line.
Okay.
I love that with the framing of the kiss. By the way, it's like she hasn't done that since Jimmy got his letter of becoming a lawyer in all the way back in I think it was season 2.
Right.
I'm saying I love that we mirrored that shot too. Anyway, keep going with your thing.
Okay. Well, let us take you on a trip down New Orleans way, where they put a little extra row in that gumbo. There's a beautiful red snapper. It's a wonderment, I guarantee. Wow, it's just like I'm in. And Kim's just like, wow, it's just like I'm in the bayou. There's a crawdad in my pants.
Crawdads in my pants.
Basically, Jimmy's equivalent to snake in my boots.
God, but seriously, just this is and Tiki, I love this. They've always had like a voice gag where they get intimate and like it's the robot voice. The whole cattlemen's are in danger. All it's like this is the thing. I love this is what they do when they're intimate. And this is the most intimate we've ever seen them in bed with each other, like in kind of like a post-coital.
Right.
Most intimate, and I love that it's still the conversations where the love is. That's where I love we're not doing the obvious stuff with that. I love we're kind of like in the aftermath, and it's like this really sweet conversation. Ray's Seahorn, she has like that great interplay with him. It's all coming up Millhouse for these two at the moment here, and I love with that logically, and it's like just didn't consider because again things seem to be so bad between them at the moment. I love that the thing that could patch up their relationship was a Slippin Kimmy. Basically, the shipping name is Slippin Kimmy. It's kind of a Slippin Kimmy con of the two of them, like Victor with the K and Giselle, Giselle St. Clair kind of working together again. Like that's the thing that pulls them, that decimates the divide and brings them closer together than they've ever been. But again, spells doom for I got some of my own theories with what's going to spell doom. We'll get there. Kind of spells some
similar theories, Dragon.
We just might. Again, I think Kim. Again, some issues with Kim might be sprung about with this whole Slippin Kimmy affair here. But the fact is, the love has been rekindled. The question of like how tight that bond's going to be here, and like I love Jim's giving all the credit in the world to Kim. So this is you. I brought it home. You put this whole thing in the motion. Seemingly, they're in a good place. And she got Huel 4 months. 4 months time served for Huel, which is great.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Kim's going back to work, and Jimmy is still looking for offices.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm sure you
All
like
right.
this scene coming up here.
Yeah. Of course, we get the return of Kevin and Paige, who we haven't seen since what, like episode 5, I want to say.
I think I can't remember if Talk was the one that had the models or not.
No. I think the models was all the way back in like episode 2.
Well, we've seen Paige. We didn't see Kevin because remember she couldn't see Kevin that one time. This is the last time we've seen them both.
It doesn't
I think
matter. It's been a couple episodes.
Right. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah. So let's see. So Paige just kind of laying out the legalese of like, oh, we need to get more flexible. We need to look down the road, get a 5 to 6 to 12 month timeline going on, and have a breathing, basically kind of legalese of the branch.
To bring up the Wyoming branch, I bring that because it might be important if anything connected to Mesa Verde. So the next branch opening up is Wyoming, so that just remember that. Okay.
And Kevin is kind of just sitting there anxious, like a little freaking toddler at this point, wanting to ask his mother for candy.
Kevin has a radical idea, and just to summarize it, he's asking if he can, based on the success of one of the previous branches that has been built up, he wants to design I believe the Wyoming branch. They don't say Wyoming. I believe I'm pretty sure it's the same one. Whatever branch they're building next, which should be Wyoming, he wants to basically change all the pre-prepared work, and he wants to make it like the successful branch they built up previously. So he wants to change the design to look like that, because we saw with those models there are a lot of different designs in Mesa Verde. And he thinks there's a correlation between the successful business end.
I just think it's hilarious that like Kevin Wachtel, this guy who's just like this little kid at heart, but he's got like all this money. He's like one of the richest guys in the ABQ verse, and he's not satisfied, Dragon. He's got his heart set. It's like, we need to make more money.
But I got to tell you, to me, it read as, and this connects to the model thing, which I love about Wachtel. I think really just more wants the building to look cooler. I think that's really what it's like. I think it's less money. It's just more of like.
I think you're right. Yeah.
I think it's like, you know what?
Even more childlike.
See, that's the thing. I think it's more that than the money, which makes it funnier. So here's honestly one of the biggest Rorschach things of the whole episode to me. I really want your take on this. So Kim turns him down. Now, I think there's a question if this is Kim standing up with confidence after because she was a little distracted, and we're going to see this at the end of the scene. She's obviously distracted because she's still glowing after the glorious con she pulled off. There's a question if after that con she's kind of standing up with a little bit more confidence here, not kind of worrying about screwing up Mesa Verde again. Like she's like, you know what? No, it is unfeasible. We can't do it. I have to hate the side of the page, but we can't do it. It's either that or she's legitimately saying no, and later on she's going to get gutsy and try to make this work, and it might blow up in her face. It's either setup
I don't think she's going to try and make this work. I don't think her heart's in this at all. Absolutely.
That's the thing. Like,
not. I think if anything, this is just like, the fact that Paige is siding with her on it is just kind of a good excuse to be like, yeah, Kevin, you're a child, Kevin. All right, that's basically what I'm reading from Kim in my Rorschach of this scene, Dragon. I'm just like, you're a child, Kevin. Relax. We've got this. All right. There's no need to overcomplicate things.
That's fair. I think we're simpatico on that, but I just want to entertain that notion of, again, like I wonder if wouldn't it be crossing a line for her? Like, wouldn't it be like kind of the undoing of Wexler if basically like she tried to make that last minute change work using basically a slipping Kimmy con, and it blew up in her face. Like, imagine how tragic that would be.
Dragon, I like where you're coming from, and I like the idea of her using a slipping Jimmy con, like in the context of the Mesa Verde stuff. I just don't think that this is the thing that she's going to use the con on, because I very much think that her heart isn't in it.
Okay, that's fair. All right, that's fair.
But I do like the idea of her using the cons at work, though. So we'll pencil that in, I guess.
That's fair. Okay, so then, of course, we have this great moment where we have the symbol of Slippin Kimmy, of that relationship, of the whole Victor with the K affair, with the Sarajevo trophy that she saved from the first con they pulled together. I love that she keeps in her desk. I love that detail. She brought that to work with her. She brings it everywhere she goes. Love it. So following that, again, the idea is like Saul Goodman has fueled Kim's dark side, and potentially might potentially make for a very unhealthy relationship going forward. It's a little pin in that respect, but just remember that. So that's kind of where I'm feeling us. I feel it's Saul Goodman's antics have definitely fed into like Kim's character flaw, and that might kind of spread, and that might really be her undoing. So, Mike.
Yeah. So Mike is giving Gus an update on the super lab and the supports that have to still be built and the blasting, but
basically tells him about episode 7.
Basically, yes. But Mike doesn't care about that stuff. He cares about Werner. What's going on with Werner, Dragon?
Werner, I like that. It's interesting that Fring knew about it before Mike told him. At least to us, the audience, it seems that way. So I wonder if that's just kind of Gus knowing this before Mike, or if Mike has just told him off screen. I wonder. But Mike vouches for Werner. He says, I'm watching. I'm watching him, but I think he got the message. I think he means it. And Gus accepts this. And I think Gus is, my take on it is, I think Gus is genuine about this. I think Gus, he trusts Mike's judgment. Like, okay, if you trust the guy, trust the guy. It's fine. Importantly, they are a week, basically to fix the concrete form and to blast the rock. And we're emphasizing that blasting the rock idea. Okay, that's going to be important.
Yeah, right.
So it's 5 days to recreate the concrete form. It's going to be a week to do the blasting for basically for the elevator. So they're a little more than halfway done, but by the same token, they're still they're way behind.
Okay. Yeah, God, I relate to I can't say I relate to the situation, but I have a lot of empathy for the Germans in this case. Could you imagine how stir crazy it would be being in that situation? Yeah. Anyways.
All right.
So that's it. That's it for the Mike stuff.
Yeah, that's it for the Mike stuff. Just Gus seems to be okay with this, and we'll see how true that is.
Okay. All right. So let's see. So we see Saul, Jimmy taking a tour of another office.
A real hole in the wall place.
Problems.
The real hole in the wall place, because we started with that shot of the hole in the wall as one of the that in there.
But it's the only thing. It's funny. It's like I feel like every office we tour, we're getting closer and closer to the strip mall.
We are, because again, I swear to you, I had to go through images of Breaking Bad to make sure this wasn't the same office space. Because here's how you know, because there's this giant block on the top of it, and it's at the end of the strip mall, or Saul Goodman's like he's kind of in the middle of the strip mall lot, and you can tell by the point. It's not the. I've checked and I've vetted every which way, and believe me, I painstakingly looked about on the inside. Unless they do like some major remodeling, it is not the place, but it's getting closer. It's at a strip mall though. So that's the thing. It's not the strip mall, but it's a strip mall.
All right, fair enough.
So Kim, yeah,
kind of ushers him outside, and they have a smoking scene. Dragon, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the first smoking scene that we've gotten in season 4?
Let me see if I'm trying to. I think, yeah, because they didn't do in the first episode like we had predicted, but it's
right.
I think this is the first. I'm going to kick myself if we're forgetting something, but I think this is the first time. Yeah.
Okay, so bottom line, to boil it down, Jimmy's feeling really bad. He's just like, listen, Kim, that is, never going to happen again. It was a big case. I dumped it on your lap. And he's kind of listing off all the violations. I mean,
Kim's all calm, cool, and collected during this whole
about
scene.
What, like a couple hundred counts of fraud here?
Mail fraud.
I mean, come on. And Kim, yeah, you're right. She's just calm, cool, and collected. She's just kind of like staring it down. Jimmy hands the cigarette back.
And he says, it will never be like it
never happened. And we are totally done from this point on with all of that. Over and out. No more.
Then she pulls a complete 180. That kind of leaves Jimmy kind of in shock and awe. It's, let's do it again.
I want to do it again.
Oh, yes. So, I mean, if the episode couldn't get better, they could have ended it there. They could have. But we're missing basically Tiki. I reached the moment of this episode where like, how could it get any better than this? And then Tiki, they had the ultimate. I was losing my mind with this ending.
Oh yeah,
The big call I had for this season. I mean, it wasn't Kapasic, but we got something here. Okay, so Nacho arrives at El Michoacan, and music is blaring. There's a stranger in the kitchen, like our guy, our usual taco guy. He's just kind of sitting there, and they're looking a little scared, honestly. And so is Domingo. And we reveal. I'm going to build it up here. So we reveal.
Yeah, go ahead.
Reveal this man in the kitchen. He is cooking. Very much like Tuco, how Tuco cooked, tacos and burritos and everything for my tío. So I mean, Tuco Salamanca likes to cook. By the way, they think with Salamancas they do like to cook. And we reveal yet another Salamanca.
Oh yeah.
Reveal another Salamanca here.
This guy is like the most suave and like Zorro-looking Salamanca motherfucker I've ever seen.
So this actor is played by Tony Dalton, which a part of me, this is just completely. I'm kind of riffing off the name here. By the same token, he's kind of suave like Timothy Dalton.
Like Timothy Dalton, I agree.
That's the thing. I haven't looked into it a lot.
He's like Timothy Dalton's Hispanic half brother.
That's the thing. I mean, here's the thing. Tiki, legitimately, I haven't looked into it. I don't think there's a relation. I don't think it's like a son or I don't know, but I didn't really look. So you never know. Timothy Dalton, the Bond years, he got around. You never know. But he does exude like a bit of a Timothy Dalton thing, doesn't he?
He does. You're not wrong.
So this guy, he seems kind of pleasant and friendly, but again, there's that touch of menace under.
You'll die.
There's a lot of that menace with lines like that underneath. Eat this, you'll die. And he says it's a family secret. And of course, Nacho puts the pieces together. Salamanca family secrets. And then we have the huge reveal that had me screaming like a girl in my head. So we reveal, oh, my name's Eduardo. And I was on the edge of my seat wondering, are they going to do this? Are they going to do this? He says, Eduardo. I'm like, come on. He says, but call me Lalo.
And then that's just like, yep, we're going there.
We're doing Lalo. I mean, we knew, look, in all fairness, we knew Lalo was coming this season, but I was so distracted this season by
finally.
To be fair, I mean, this whole season, ever since the speculation for this season, I was wondering, is Stefan Kapasic going to be Lalo? Like,
that's who I assumed was going to be Lalo Dragon. It really was.
But it wasn't. But no, we finally did Lalo, and this guy seems to be menacing. But it's basically a smarter Tuco, essentially. That's kind of what we had.
He very much reminds me of Miguel Prado.
Yeah, there's a bit of, you're right. There is a bit of Prado in there.
But you got to have a beer with me, essay.
Prado was so freaking. Jimmy Smits was so freaking charming in that season of Dexter. They went golfing. I love it when they went golfing. That's my favorite part. Anyway, so I was like, oh my God, we're doing Lalo. And of course, folks, well, I'll say it for spec. All right. So
okay.
We have Lalo. And not only that, with the episode itself, I love how we go full circle with Lalo. Essentially, Lalo is there to lend a helping hand. He phrases it, I'm just here to lend a helping hand. You got a good, and I got a good head for numbers.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be like I'm not even here. So we go full circle here as we started the episode with, as we started with Nacho. Nacho's story here goes full circle where Nacho, we see that Lalo is not taking he's taking Nacho's old seat that he had with Tuco. They both sat side by side, taking the money and everything. So he's sitting next to Domingo. But the point is, Salamanca is there where we're doing like the usual kind of dealer exchange, and Nacho he's definitely put off by this guy. Come on, Varga, let's go. Oh boy.
All right. So, Dragon, let's try and get through spec as quickly as possible.
Okay, let's see. Promo. Yeah, promo. Jimmy's soon getting his license back. Lalo is taking Nacho to visit Hector in, I believe, the old folks' home. We see an on switch, which most likely is a demolition button, for the operation. It's some machinery during the super lab operation. Let's see. Jimmy is driving really fast in a parking garage, usually kind of like a doomsday scenario of like, okay, I gotta get somewhere really fast to stop something bad from happening. Tyrus is in position, and Mike's on the other end of a walkie-talkie, so Tyrus might have a little bit of a role next episode. And let's see, Fring is on screen in kind of his Poyos Hermanos mode, which you haven't seen for a while this season, by the way.
Right, right.
Fring's like, "Is there anything else I can do for you?" All kind of pleasant like, and that's what we've seen in the promo. So Tiki, spec, hit us with it.
All right, so basically, Drag, I'm going to make it really, really simple for you. I think that Kim is going to get busted for the for everything that went down, and I think her career is going to get tanked, and she's going to go to prison right as Jimmy is getting his law license back, and she's going to lose her career and basically lose her life because of Jimmy.
That's a good theory. I have something. It's not that, but that's great. I like that though. I think there's going to be a correlation with Kim, losing everything though. But let me backtrack here. Let me get to that. So first, I got to talk about Lalo because I'm bursting at the same time about Lalo.
Go ahead. I think you have a lot more to say about Lalo than I do. So go ahead.
So Lalo, of course, a little reminder for the folks there. Lalo was we heard Lalo dropped in the first appearance of Saul Goodman. He was in the desert, on his knees in the desert, and he said, "It was Ignacio, it was Ignacio." And of course, they reveal, like, "No, we're not. What are you talking about?" And he realizes that Walt and Jesse are. Says, "Wait, you don't work for Lalo? Like Lalo didn't send you?" And of course, that mentioned that name. Like, I love this too. By the way, Vince Gilligan revealed that Vince Gilligan didn't want to bring back Lalo. Peter Gould championed bringing back Lalo, and he loved the choice at the end of the day. So this is all thanks to Peter Gould, thank God. Because we're going to complete full circle here, see what kind of made Sullivan terrified out of his mind. So Lalo, we build Lalo up as Lalo's going to be terrifying. If like the minute he realized it was not Lalo, he was at ease in the desert. Mm-hmm. That paints a picture that some business went down, that Ignacio was going to betray Lalo in some way, and of course, Saul Goodman is
part of it.
Yes, Jimmy is somehow a factor in all this. Somehow. And I got some theories here. Okay, so Lalo's going to bring trouble. We know that much, and he's definitely. The question is the big, it was Ignacio plot going to be this season or most likely next season? I think it's most likely going to be next season.
I think it's going to be like briefly set up this season.
Because all I know is they've teased the next two episodes are going to have a lot of story in them. That's what they've teased for the next two episodes. That they're going to be like, there's still a lot of story to tell. So I think you're right. I think we're going to get that set up, but I think we're going to see the menace of Lalo in these next two episodes, and then we're going to do the big plot next season. So Nacho is going to. So my prediction is, I think Nacho is going to need help. Is going to need Jimmy's help to turn on.
Maybe Nacho might forcibly get Jimmy to help.
That's the thing. It's entirely possible. So, here's how this could go. So, one, he could seek out Jimmy's help to turn on Lalo in some capacity with some plot that Lalo has cooked up next season. Or here's another way it could go: to escape Lalo as things get too hot. Like maybe Lalo puts the pieces together that he poisoned Hector Salamanca. Maybe some other business goes down. Maybe he sees that Nacho's working for Fring. Who knows? The point is, he needs to escape Lalo like there's no tomorrow, and possibly he goes to Jimmy for help here. And Jimmy, we set up the vacuum guy. We set up Ed, and maybe he's like going to Jimmy to get to Ed to get out of there. And we have like the ID set up and everything. So I don't know. He has his ID set up, so maybe it's not as set in stone, but that could be like maybe those IDs are going to fail him. They're not going to cut it, and he has to get rid of them. So he has to go to Ed to get him out there, which of course brings the whole gene idea full circle. And if Lalo were to find out how that was done, that would correlate with the gene story we had at the top of the season.
Sure.
It's I don't know. It's possible. Like, and it's either that, just in general, like the business next season that could get Nacho in hot water would be a collaboration with Saul Goodman, which would also go full circle with the Kettleman plot from season 1, where Nacho offered to cut Jimmy in on the Kettleman ordeal, and Jimmy said, "No, I'm not a criminal. I'm a lawyer." Which, imagine how full circle that would be in possibly a last season with the season 5, or like a big season with 5 where it goes completely full circle. Like now Saul Goodman's seeking out Nacho for a con, which will go bad. Maybe. Okay, let's see. I got two points here. One with Kim and one with Warner. So Kim.
Okay.
I think Kim's going to help build Saul Goodman via some con jobs, and then she might ethically wake up. And maybe now it's possible, like maybe via the Lalo affair, like maybe that's the ethical wake up call, like that business that Sullivan gets in with Lalo might be like the wake up call. Okay, this is not what I, this is too much for me. I'm not into this. Next, in next season possibly, or just after Solomon is in business and doing really shady things, that's when she's starting to realize that wake up, I made the wrong choice here and I threw away my legal career and everything over Solomon. Like she'll make compromises that will bring her to that place. And I think the tragedy of Kim's story could be that she burned all of her bridges, and she, again, this sort of thing you fleshed out greater than I have, but I feel that she's going to lose her law license like Jimmy has. Like basically her the tragedy of Kim Wexler is that she mirrors Jimmy's path. Like she was on a really good path before Jimmy McGill showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically what Jimmy's done this season, he's brought her into his arc from the beginning of Better Call Saul, where she's lost her law license, she's kind of doing her Davison Maine thing with Schweiker and Coakley. She's going to lose her license and she's going to be stuck with Saul Goodman. If we see her in the Breaking Bad timeline, she'll be stuck with Saul Goodman, a broken woman, and Jimmy's going to have to. Saul Goodman's going to have to live with
addicted to the blue meth.
Again, Tiki, I'm still. I see where I'm not subscribing to that, but I'm open. We'll see where it goes. I really don't think that's going to happen. But seriously, if she is still around, we got to entertain the notion
about how haunting it would be if it did happen, though.
That would be. I mean, that would be. I don't know if she's there. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But still, I mean, imagine just her as like a broken woman, and Jimmy has
to. Basically, I'll meet you halfway there, Dragon. I'll meet you basically. I don't think she's going to be in the story for the Breaking Bad years, but I think she's going to go back to Wyoming, a broken woman.
That's the thing. I think if she becomes a broken woman, like she'll. I'm sorry. It's a great point. Yeah, you're right. Like she goes to Omaha, like she could go to Omaha as like a broken woman, which of course would make her gene thing happen, which I really do want to see that kind of get fulfilled.
Yep.
So yeah, the point is like at some point, broken woman, then she'll move to Omaha, and that's where kind of Saul, maybe there'll be a happy ending. If not happy ending, she'll just be in Breaking Bad the whole time alone now that Gene's gone. Maybe he's haunted by it, and maybe he comes back, and maybe bad stuff happens.
Maybe she's best buds with Wendy at this point.
Oh, like that's just that's taken to the meth dark direction right there. That's the thing. I'm optimistic on the Kim Wexler story. I'm hoping that they meet each other in Omaha as Gene. That's what I'm hoping.
All right.
Okay, lastly,
what do you got on Warner?
The Warner, he's a goner, obviously. So Warner's a goner.
Yeah, I hate to say it. I don't want him to be, but
now
I think all the Germans are goners, Dragon. That's what
really?
I think. I think they're going to exterminate the Germans.
How perverse. But yes, Tika, that's a good. I'm sorry, you bring that up.
It would be really dark
if Fring planned it from the get-go.
Well, yes, that would be dark. Yes, I didn't think about that, but I'm talking like subversive, like next level dark, Dragon. Like this might be the darkest thing they ever do on Breaking Bad. What if they gas the safe house?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just saying, think about the implications of that, like Germans being gassed in a safe house.
Yeah, that would be the darkest thing they've done in the Albuquerque verse, yeah. So basically, I think it's like a this or that situation where, again, Warner's a goner no matter what.
Everyone Warner is just like Michael has the gas mask, like the classic like Breaking Bad style gas mask. Yeah. Warner's just clutching his knees like, Michael, why Michael?
God. So I mean,
done, Warner.
Your idea is really great, man. I didn't consider
and
that.
And Warner reveals like, my wife, she's been dead for 25 years. I will go see her now.
Okay, now you're just stealing from Iron Man.
Off Iron Man.
Yeah, come on, he's not the Anyway, so again, I think your idea, what they do with the whole Germans would make sense of like no witnesses, like no links to them. That'd be basically if Warner opened up like a if Warner opened up like a doubt in Gus Fring's mind, then would lead to like death of all the Germans. Like that would be interesting. So that's feasible option I didn't consider, but I'm thinking this way: either Kai screws up intentionally to screw over Mike for like Mike challenged me, therefore I'm going to screw up this job, and he basically blows the demolition job, which gets Warner killed.
Ooh, I didn't even think about that.
I mean that's one of my big predictions for the season with Warner. Maybe that's like the way
they have been hyping up the demolition job.
And broader strokes, like for next season, I think the loss of Warner might kind of. I'm not saying it's going to like completely stay with Mike, but I think what's going to happen is it's going to give Mike a wake up call. He'll start a will with Jimmy, and that'll be like the whole Kaylee Will story next season. So maybe we'll get a thing about mortality. Otherwise, well, let me put it this way: it's just like there's one theory. Then, so basically, Kai's going to screw up, going to blow him up, and it's going to kill Warner. I think there's a question if Mike's going to get revenge on Kai. So, like after that, that's the real question. That's to me. That's the we know Warner is a certainty. It's the question of if Mike's going to get revenge on Kai or not. That's the thing. Like, I part of me wants him to get revenge, but I think I think the lesson that you're kind of leaning towards is he's not going to get revenge because it's like the smart thing to do. Like Kai's going to live and he's going to have to let that happen.
Right.
Okay, so we should make our call.
Yes, I'm very anxious, Dragon. What call are we going to make?
I got a honey of a call that you don't know about.
Oh God. This. Okay.
Are you ready?
Yep.
3, 1.
Wait. Hold on.
I'm sure. Trust me. 3, 1, 8.
Okay. All right.
4, 2, 6.
Okay.
9, 6, 6, 2.
Okay.
Here we go.
Hello, Sheriff. You've reached this voicemail because God in His grace have led you to a humble congregation. Please leave a message after the tone, and I, Pastor Hanford, will personally return your call. We here at Free Will Baptist look forward to bringing you into our flock.
Perfect. All right.
Answering the Lord's call. Okay, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. This was a light and breezy episode for the most part, but I think it singles dark things to come. Short and sweet and to the point, Dragon. What do you got?
I think it's a great episode. Gordon Smith working his magic. The con was brilliant. It paid off so much. The Mike stuff was very compelling. The episode's just so well directed with all that visual storytelling we were talking about earlier on. Again, like that going to the bar sequence. I still love it. Again, the way we unfold the mystery and everything. The Kim twist was great and unexpected and very hopeful, which again I feel. Episode 9, obviously some bad stuff's coming. That's the tradition. Like all the bad stuff happens.
I'm gonna get to watch episode 9 in my hotel room when I'm at Disneyland, so I'm pretty stoked for that.
Yep, lucky dog. So the point is, this episode was great. And if episode 8 was this great, I mean, I can only imagine how great 9 is going to be.
Oh yeah. Okay.
All right.
Take us out.
Remember, kids, when you get that phone call, make it count. Better Call Saul. Saul Goodman and Associates is the one-stop shop for all your legal needs, share.
And with that, we are adjourned.
We could totally be lawyers.
Totally. I can't do the Crayola accent like I can't.
Call your lawyer now.
Why, Michael? Why?